Morning, XFF. Chicago Adam here. You are watching the Flick and MacHugh Countdown Show. Got a special guest with us here this morning. We got Reggie from the Atlanta Falcons. How you doing, Reggie?
I'm doing good.
How you feeling about your team today?
Feel pretty confident. I got a few players that I'm not sure about that are injured. So like Eddie Lacy, he's got an ankle issue. But he's the only back that they have playing. So I don't know.
Also, I hear he's also got a food intake issue. What do you think about that?
But he's probably had it all his life.
Hey, did you guys see? I just saw a note this morning that I know that the only other real running back they have is a fullback who basically was a fullback full time in college, from what I can tell, barely had any carries.
Right.
But that Cobb is actually going to be his backup.
Wait, see, and I have Cobb too, so he's
yeah. I think that makes Cobb startable if you're on the fence.
Right.
Sure with him.
Yeah. Well, I guess, and the thing about it, I don't know, like, how bad his ankle is or whatever. Like, if it's just something, it's always a chance that he can just really injure it pretty much and like play, 10 snaps and they'll injure it. So.
Yeah, you just never know. I mean.
Right. But hopefully he can play long enough and maybe they get down to the 2 or something, he can punch in a couple of touchdowns or something.
Hey, eat a donut at halftime, he'll be good.
Well, I think that's part of the problem. I mean, with the weight, we talk about his weight, but he's a big dude anyway, so.
Right.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with big dudes, Sean.
Well, what I mean is when you have an ankle problem, it makes it much worse.
Hey, we like our fucking donuts.
Hey, I love that he loves to live the life.
Hey, so here we are, week 6 of the NFL, halfway point of the XFF, week 8. What are your thoughts? Are the playoff picture starting to shape up? What are you thinking? Or you thinking you're going to make it in, or what?
I think I got a good chance. Because I think I looked at it in the next 5 weeks. I got, this week I have Oakland, and then I have Kansas City, and then I think San Diego, and seemed like something else. So somebody else I can't remember, but so I'm looking at those as winnable games, hopefully, and So if I can pull off at least those 4 straight wins, then I think I should have a good chance of getting in. Then we got the last week will be the hardest, I guess, with the triple header, playing New Orleans and Carolina, Tampa Bay. So
yeah,
I need to go ahead and win these next, I think 4 or 5 games or whatever.
Yeah, what are you thinking, Sean? How are you feeling about your chances? Are you locking yourself in, or?
I think I've got a really good chance. I think I'm definitely in good position. I don't have. I think this week I'm playing the Eagles. I think odds are I got a good shot in that matchup. I got Giants next week. Dallas is my probably the toughest team I'll play the rest of the way, and he's obviously right now looks like the best team overall, and any metric you look at. So I think I've got a good chance. Certainly the last weekend. My biggest challenge that I face is I lost to the Browns on opening weekend and the Bengals. And so, they automatically win that tiebreaker if I don't beat them a second time, the second time I play them. So that's really kind of where I'm looking. I think I'd probably be fine, if I win 2 out of 3. But honestly, when you get to the last weekend and you're playing 3 at one time, if your team colossal fails, you're going to lose all 3 of those matchups unless you get lucky. So, especially in my division. So, I got to hopefully I can win, maybe a loss or 2 the rest of the way until we get to that weekend. And I think I'll be in decent shape. Obviously, I want to have a top 1 or 2 seed, but that's my real goal. But getting in is the most important thing for sure.
Yeah, what do you think about that triple header at the end? I mean, you could potentially be 10-3,
Yeah.
locking yourself in and go in there and lose all 3 games and not make the playoffs.
No, exactly. And for me, losing the first two, the first weekend, my team like completely just blew up in a bad way. I had scored like 228 points, and since then I've been averaging about 300 plus. So it was that was rough. And the first tiebreaker being head to head after obviously winning percentage certainly doesn't help me. So if I would have won those two of the weekend and maybe I lost a couple later and have the same record I have now, I certainly would be in much better position because that tiebreaker is key.
Yeah, that was kind of.
Go
ahead, Reggie.
Is that the way we had the schedule set up this year? Is that something we gonna keep going with?
Well, I sort of blindly kind of created the schedule from the beginning, and I was basically one of my main goals was to try to make sure that every team every NFL team plays this year, they're playing in real life, so we can kind of use that as our guide. The triple headers and all that, I think, certainly I wouldn't want to have a triple header in the future. The 12th weekend being the triple header, in some ways was the best because there's no buys that weekend.
Right.
And I think I'd rather have like maybe, 4 weekend double headers instead of a double header and a triple header, something like that.
Right.
And having everything kind of fall at the end, that's kind of tough too.
Yeah.
Probably mixing it up would be better.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say this year it added that intrigue where we played our division rivals that first week, and now we're playing them the last week or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I know it probably would be different every year, but I was just asking.
Yeah, and I think we probably have to come up with a little better. I think it was cool we had a lot of new owners, and it was okay, your rivals right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's something we probably have to put a little formula together that we can, have it a certain way each year. So maybe, if we want to do it like this, let's keep doing it like this. But, I'm sure we can put it to a vote as far as how we want to kind of handle that.
Right. And plus, like you said, with the this year with the NFL had that 12th week as no bye week or whatever. It's a little different than previous years. So.
Yeah, so that was, and I think a lot of people are talking about like in their playoffs that to have a bye and allotted sort of larger fantasy leagues. If you've got probably 12 plus, that first weekend is going to be the 13th weekend likely. So a lot of people are kind of bummed about that because nobody wants to have a playoff game the last weekend of the year.
Hey, it's just the fucking Browns. Who is it? The Browns and the Titans, or
I can't.
Browns and somebody.
I remember Browns, and I think I only have one Brown, I think. So for me, it's not a big deal. But if you've got a couple, I mean, obviously they probably got like 2 other guys that you might start right now. I mean, obviously Kroll and what's his name? Pryor. Those are probably the only 2. Yeah. And Coleman, Corey Coleman if he actually comes back. So
speaking of Pryor, earlier in the week, I was hearing he was going to be the backup QB. What have you heard anything about that?
I think he's going to do some of the same stuff that he did, in the game against the Dolphins. To really help them out and take some pressure off of Kessler. Sounds like he's playing, but yeah. I mean, I think if you've got him, you definitely have to start him because I'm sure he'll do some running plays as well. So
yeah. So backpedaling here a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, as far as the schedule, the only way we could have made 4 doubleheaders work is to do 3 up front, because then the NFL bye weeks start week 4. Then we could have went back to week 12 and did a doubleheader there.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, because the bye weeks start week 4, right? So yeah, you'd have to do. Yeah.
But I mean, if your team's failing, like. During all the front, the first 3 weeks of the season, my team was failing. I was just like you. I was averaging like 220, 230, and now I'm rolling.
I think that one simple change was if the first doubleheader to have it on the second weekend and not have a double on the first weekend, because I think that kind of gives people a chance to see what their team looks like the first week. It's not enough really to get a chance to see what your team is, but at least you have a chance to have a nice. I'm sure there'll be a big flurry of trades after the first weekend, and really kind of add something there to the league as well. Then the first weekend where it's like, yeah, if you're a really good team, that's a huge advantage, certainly. And your team plays well as you'd hope. But yeah, maybe something like that too could have made it a little bit, not as hard on teams that might struggle out of the gate.
Right. So Reggie, you're playing the Raiders this week, correct?
Right.
And I hear something about you might steamroll them. Oh, what are you thinking about that? How the Raiders knew Rinku? What are you thinking of? How he's managing that roster this year.
Well, he seems to be doing a lot of cleaning house, I guess, and from what he's been saying, I mean, he says he has a plan, but I think I can't remember. It seemed like he had a couple of questionable trades, but I can't remember what they were. It seemed like, but I don't know. I haven't got a full feel on him yet, but he seems like he'll be a good owner because he seems, he's jumping right in and doing stuff, doing a lot of shakeup. So
one of those trades was he traded away Rawls for Josh Gordon, which neither one of those is panned out. So
well, yeah.
Yeah, and there were a couple others I can't remember off the top of my head. He's 1-6 right now. He's averaging only 241 points a game. Meanwhile, you are 4-3, averaging a nice 299. What do you attribute your success this year compared to last year?
A lot of the guys I have are pretty much getting a lot of playing time. Like for instance, I have I got a couple of folks in the draft like Deion Jones and Sterling Shepard, which he started off strong, but he didn't. He's past couple of weeks he's been having scoring very low, but just guys getting playing time. I do have one Browns, Christian Kirksey, which this is his third year, and he's I think the first couple of years he would just play sparingly, like either on passing downs or stuff like that. But now they've installed him as a every down linebacker, so guys are getting chances now, whatever, and playing more volume. It's allowing them to make chances to make plays and rack up points. So that's pretty much
to me.
Huh?
I would say to me, the reason why you're winning and scoring so many points, if I could attribute it to one position on your roster, it'd be the linebacker position.
Yeah.
Jamie Collins with 83 points, Jatavis Brown with 110, Jones. You got Christian Kirksey, which he's at 90 points. I mean, Zachary Orr. Nobody even knew if he was going to start this. I mean, that was the rumor when we had the free agency, and you're like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go out and spend $7 million on him. Let's see if he starts."
Well, that was because I wasn't trying to spend $7, but the previous Carolina owner, we kept going back and forth, and yeah, and so I was just gambling on that because I was like, they wasn't sure if he was gonna start or not, and even if he started, you wasn't sure if he was gonna pan out as as far as production. So that's been that was a good choice, but yeah.
Hey,
I mean, if you're, go ahead, Sean.
I was speaking of linebackers. One thing I saw this morning is Jamie Collins hurt his hip.
Yeah, he's out.
Questionable, so he's out. Okay, so you got that.
Yeah,
he's on my team, so I'm glad I got a fifth linebacker that I figured
right. Yeah, I have a fill-in too because I'm gonna put in Deion Jones.
Oh yeah,
because he didn't play last week, but
yeah.
So I'm gonna flip-flop those two.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I got DeMario Davis, so I hope Kirksey, maybe doesn't get to as many tackles and maybe a little more for Davis.
Well, the part of that is they so bad on offense that they playing defense a lot of times, so that increase the chances for them to get production like that. So that factors in as well.
Definitely.
So you had one first-round pick last year, correct?
Yeah, that was Shepard.
Okay. So you took Deion Jones with your second.
Yes.
That's an amazing pick. Who he ended up starting over? Who's the veteran there?
Paul
Warlow. Warlow, yeah. Nobody really knew if Jones was going to start or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I mean, when you hit on these draft picks, Commissioner, the Washington Redskins, he trades his draft picks away every year. He doesn't like draft picks, but when you hit on these draft picks early, first, second, third round draft picks, it just makes all the difference in the world for your team.
Well, yeah, it adds a lot of depth and and points if they end up starting and stuff like that. So
yeah, and it's so cheap that it's like
right,
a free player.
And then you can go out and spend big money on the proven veterans on the free agent.
Exactly.
So Sean, what do you got? This morning
I'm playing the Eagles this week. Certainly every game is a must-win for me. I definitely have my eye on some matchups out there, though. I've got Cleveland's playing Dallas, and certainly if I can win this week, I lose the tiebreaker to Cleveland. But if he loses, that'll put me in first place. So I definitely have my eye on that game. Well, Dustin is on here. We'll get him on in a couple of minutes, but he's playing Denver, so we're looking to see if Denver will get their first loss this year. So that's interesting to me for sure. Your matchup, Titans and your Bears, that one is huge for me too, because certainly trying to get a 1 or 2 seed. The Colts and Vikings, and we can talk about these individually, but Colts and Vikings, Colts is trying to stay, trying to keep the playoff dream afloat. So that should be interesting. And then, of course, the Cardinals Dolphins is the other one, because Dolphins are kind of another team that's in the top 3, 4 this year. So I've kind of got my eye on about 5 matchups. There's probably some more out there, but those are the ones that top of my list. Because certainly, if teams in the AFC lose, I'm not going to cry about
that. Well, what one you want to talk about first here? Let's diagnose some of these.
How about Cleveland Dallas?
All right.
Dallas we can really good, but
he's taken a couple hits here as of late with linebacker and wide receiver positions. Really, that's his downfall to me. Wide receiver position, just no depth. He had Decker, the veteran Steve Smith. That's really, I think, all he had. I'm gonna try to pull up his roster here.
I think from a bye for this week, he's in decent shape from that perspective. I'm not sure. I'm trying to look to see who his quarterback is, but
he's got Kaepernick. He just traded for Osweiler, gave up a second-round pick.
So he'll have Osweiler this week with Winston on
a bye.
Yeah.
The three-headed monsters carrying him with David Johnson, DeMarco Murray, and then he can put either Terrence West in there or Devontae Freeman or either one of those guys.
Yeah, he's got some similar players. I've got Freeman, Ivory, Johnson. So when I play him in a couple of weeks, that'll be kind of interesting because obviously those guys will cancel out. But and I think even on defense, there's a few guys that are kind of matched that we had the same some of the same similar players. So I find that kind of interesting because certainly when Johnson had when Freeman had that big game, him and Coleman on Monday Night Football, my team went up to like 360 points, and that's the week that he went over 400. But yeah, he's got. I mean, certainly DeMarco Murray's just been, just more amazing than we could possibly dream of. Certainly, looking for health with him. But
actually, I predicted this, Sean. I predicted.
You did? Okay.
I did.
Good.
I predict a lot of shit that I don't get right. Gotta claim the ones that I get right. Hey, Steve Smith is doubtful for today, so he doesn't have any tight ends on his roster. He's got to choose two wide receivers between Tyler Boyd, Kenny Britt, Philly Brown, Marquise Lee, Jalen Marshall, J.J. Nelson. None of those guys I would want starting on my team today.
That's true, yeah. I mean, I guess he's got to start, Boyd? Maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that New England secondary is pretty decent, though.
Yeah. Boyd, because, yeah, that's probably the best. What do you think about Britt? I mean, he's had some good games, not great.
Well,
yeah, and they play San Francisco. Go ahead, Reggie.
No, they I think they're playing the Lions, aren't they? The Rams, aren't they playing the Lions?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
So I mean, he could. I don't know. Potentially.
Yeah, that is tough. That's a good point there. But he looks good on defense. Obviously, he lost Bowman, but he's got some. He's got Kuechly and McKinney and Pazlusny and then he can pick Murphy or whoever. Murphy's obviously been solid. So yeah, his defense is in pretty good shape. You see any holes there?
No, not really for me.
Yeah.
No, he lost a little bit. Obviously, losing Bowman, you can't really fill a guy like that. But
let's jump over bye weeks too.
Let's jump over to Cleveland. He's playing Cleveland, correct?
Yeah. Cleveland's got Gordon on a bye. I'm sorry, Gordon already played. Sorry. He doesn't have anybody on a bye this week. No, hold on. I'm looking at the wrong spot. He's got Evans on a bye, which is obviously a challenge. Yeah, that's the big one there.
I mean, he's gonna play you got to think he's gonna play Kelvin Benjamin against that soft Saints D.
Yeah.
His running backs are a little sketchy. Isaiah Crowell, LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah, he's got some hit guy. Gordon's been fun. Obviously had a good game, 24 points. Kroll, he's had some big games and some not so, some bad games. Matthews, as long as he's healthy, he's going to start him.
Yeah. Do you start Spencer Ware today? I mean, they're saying.
Yeah, that's on my list. I think, in my opinion, I don't know go ahead and say what you're going to say, and then I'll.
If it's on your list, we'll get back. We'll circle back to it.
Okay. But I think, I'm thinking for running backs, he's going to start. He's got Gordon already, Kroll and Blunt. I'm guessing those are the other. I'm sorry. He's got to choose between Matthews, Corral, and Crowell and Blunt. I'd probably go with Blunt and Matthews based on what Matthews did last week, but it wasn't exactly great, but he did score some good amount of points. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Go ahead, Reggie.
Yeah, I would choose those two. Blunt and Matthews instead of Isaiah Crowell. With the reason being, I mean, the Patriots, yeah. I mean, he's going to get the goal line stuff, Blunt. And as far as Matthews, since last week, he'd probably be the workhorse again, I guess, playing Washington. I'm not sure, but sometimes you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely got a tough choice there, and he could regret whatever he does. And I don't think any of us can say, okay, these are the because Blunt, I mean, depends on how the game goes.
Right.
Belichick
messes with you too much.
Exactly. The only guy you feel comfortable over there, like Brady and Gronk, although, they're definitely using all their all the receivers.
Yeah.
And tight ends for that matter. So, it's always kind of scary to play Patriots on the receiving core, and that doesn't change this year.
He's got a couple good linebackers on his team in McKinney. He's also got Christian Kirksey, Mason Foster. His defense is all pretty, about average. He's got a couple average cornerbacks, a couple average safeties.
Yeah,
So I think he could. I think he could really give the Cowboys a run for his money today.
I think you can. I mean, when I played him in the first weekend, I lost. Although my team was so bad, it didn't really matter. But he definitely hit on all his on his defensive team. He's had some guys, like you said, Foster, but he's gotten some less snaps, but he picked up his snap count last week. But yeah, I mean, he definitely has a chance. Certainly, with Oswald has a really bad game. Sad thing in this, I guess, in our setup, quarterback can have a bad game. Like Simeon on Thursday, kind of felt a lot like he had a bad game, and then you see he still scored at least 24 points, which sucks because you want to get 30 plus points out of your quarterback, but it could have been a heck of a lot worse.
Oh yeah. Let's move on to that second matchup you were talking about. What was that?
Yeah, so the Carolina Denver. Let's get Dustin in here. I haven't seen anything from Denver yet. He was going to see if he could join us. How's it going, Dustin?
Good. How's it going, guys?
Good. We're about to talk about your big matchup this week. How you feeling about it? We might have a little connection challenge. You still there, Dustin? Well, let's start talking about it. Oh, he'll come back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and start talking about it.
Let's skip his game. I want him to be here for that. Let's
wait?
talk about a different
one. Okay, cool.
Let's go with.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what happened there. As soon as I turned off my mic, it just kind of froze up.
Okay.
Yeah, Dustin, how you feeling about your matchup with the Broncos today?
I mean, it's probably the worst week to match up against him. Having Evans on bye, my big threat, the wide receiver. And I've got Jordan Reed, who just had the concussion, and he's out, another one of my offensive weapons. So now I'm really rolling out there with Ingram and Miller, Jalen Richard. Luckily Latavius is out another week. And then I'm kind of deciding for my other receiver whether I want to do John Brown or what's I looking at? John Brown or Chris Hogan. That's how desperate I am right now.
So he's got Winston on a bye. His quarterback's gonna be Keenum this week.
Yeah, that's one positive for me.
Yeah, but yeah, not having Evans, that's a guy that could really blow up and give you a big number if he's playing.
Yeah, I mean Jordan Reed's in the same boat. I mean, I think he's an advantage, or he can stay up with a guy like Julio depending on the week.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah,
losing two top guys, two starters, or one of them on bye and one of them on injury, kind of sucks. But I have the huge advantage on his side that he's missing, the Minnesota Vikings defense that he has basically with Hendricks, and his defensive end has like 107 points this year. So
100. Oh, yeah.
I think on the defensive side, he's losing a lot more guys than I am. I'm pretty full and strong defensively, except for Joe Hayden being out. I know he's another guy. The Cleveland Brown bye week thing may impact me, but he hasn't been all that good. But yeah, so I think we're kind of trading missing key players on both sides of the ball. Him more defensively, me more offensively. I'm not sure if he's going to start Lamar Miller or he's going to start, Christian Michael, Zeke, and Le'Veon Bell as the three running backs. So I may have an advantage with Miller if he doesn't start him, but I can't see him benching Miller today.
And Zeke Elliott's going up against number one rush defense.
My Packers.
Yeah.
So there's especially a lot of love and joy to watch him get stuffed.
Well, it'll definitely be interesting to watch that game for sure.
Yeah, the 4:00 game. It's nice that it's kind of more out of prime time.
Oh yeah. I'll get to actually see a good chunk of it. I'm generally watching Red Zone, so that's a good thing is when you have like a matchup like that, then they'll start showing that game. But maybe I wouldn't have been able to see it otherwise because I assume it's the Niners that I'll see. So.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I'm not sure how much it's going to decide on our matchup, but it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, certainly eyes on it. I mean, you're probably as good as team in any that have a chance to beat them. So so far this season, I think the Titans played them, but outside of that, so that'll be fun to watch.
Well, we really don't need him to beat him this week.
No,
No. So hopefully I win, and then we'll be tied up.
you're not going to be upset if NFC team loses to the AFC. Sure.
Exactly.
I hear you on that.
I know. I'm the biggest AFC fan, except for this week.
Yeah, we're all rooting. Yeah, exactly. We're all rooting for our opposite conference for at least 3 more weeks.
Yeah, Atlanta gets a bye week with the Raiders this week, and I got to go to Denver.
It's only right. It's only right.
Yeah, I'm obviously I want to see the Titans lose. I want to see the Broncos lose. I want to see the Browns lose. And then after that, I want them to have good records, just not better than mine. All right.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I've got a 60% chance of winning, so I like my odds. I just need my defense to really pick it up.
Yeah, I was hoping to get Denver on. I know he's busy. He's obviously like 8+ hours ahead of at least me. I guess 5 ahead of you guys. But yeah, it should be a good matchup. I'll definitely keep an eye on that one.
All right, sounds good. I gotta run.
All right, take care, bud.
I'll watch the rest. See you later. Good luck, everybody. Except for Atlanta. Bye.
All right. Anything more on that, or you want to move on to?
I think we can move on. I mean, that's just 2 powerhouse teams. Carolina's 5-2. Denver's unbeaten at 7-0. I really don't think Carolina can take him even this week. So, here's Denver now. Let's go ahead and go out to him.
There we go.
How you doing, Mark?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We hear you.
Amazing. It's actually working on my laptop. Oh, thanks, guys. How's tricks?
Did you just wake up?
Did I just wake up?
No. I mean, it just looked like you got a
little afternoon nap. Getting ready for the games.
No, just got back. We've just been for like a long walk and just got some stuff. I had like I feel really knackered now, so I'm just quite looking forward to just staying out and watching the games for a bit. So.
Hey, do you watch? I was thinking about this the other day. Do you watch the Sunday night game and the Monday night game? Like, stay up, or do you kind of watch it like tape delay at some point, or how do you sort of handle all that?
I watch. So the first game started at 6 over here, and that's 6 o'clock is fine. And then I'll tend to watch a bit of the other ones that kick off about 9:25. I watch a bit of them, maybe the first half, and then first half max, and then the other ones I just catch up with them in the morning. Like I have done it before, where like the Thursday night games I don't usually stay up for. I've stayed up for one, which was when the Pats played. When the Pats played last year to kick off the season.
Oh, okay.
I watched that one. So, yeah. Otherwise, it's a bit difficult. But yeah, I just catch the highlights in the morning. So.
Yeah.
So, Mark, we just had Dustin of the Carolina Panthers on here, and he gave himself a 60% chance to beat you this week.
Fair game. Okay. I mean, I can't. You know what the thing is? There's been one change to the lineups, and I hope we change it back next year. Is that you can't see who else they've got left to play. I mean, I don't know why that is, because it's tough because I can't, and until the game kicks off, I don't know what his lineup is.
Yeah.
And when we created this show, before the season started, we were kind of going off the countdown show. We were going to talk, we thought we were going to be, obviously Sean didn't know, but I thought we were still going to see everybody's lineups, and there's no reason not to, really. So that kind of made it hard on us. We get on here and do a little jibber jabber, but
I think there is probably a setting. Like, I think if we bring it up with Commish, I'm sure there's like a little setting that's just something's been changed, because it's like I remember last year, like when you going into games and right, they've got this player or this player left to go, like it was a lot easier. But my lineup for this week it may change. If this helps, I've got my coach is going to be Rex Ryan versus the 49ers. Quarterback is the almighty Case Keenum. but I'm hoping against Detroit he should be all right. He's passable. Jameis Winston's on a bye. Then Lev Bell, Ezekiel Elliott, Lamar Miller, Julio Jones, Allen Robinson, Dan Bailey's the kicker, and then Morstead is the punter. Mike Purcell is going to be my my defensive tackle. He should get lots of tackle opportunities there with McCoy running the ball. Robert Quinn, just been passed fit, so he's going to be lining up defensive end with Kim Hicks from Chicago. Then linebackers, Jarrell Freeman, Corey James, Dion Jones, and Todd Davis, who played the other night and didn't do very well. Byron Maxwell at corner, Jason McCourty at corner, and then safeties are Jonathan Cyprian, Morgan Burnett, and then the offense is going to be Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, should get a lot of points there on the Steelers offense, it looks.
Yeah, that's a beautiful pickup, that one. I got that last year, nice and cheap. And when it's just, it's been a real like hub of points for me, which is nice. So,
it is supposed to be raining down there in Miami. Do you guys usually check the weather before you set lineups?
Not really, actually.
No,
I do.
I kind of. Go ahead, Reggie.
Sometimes, because if it's going to be raining very heavily, affect the passing game and stuff like that. So, but
yeah, down there in Miami today, it's only like a 60% chance after 2:00. I don't think it's anything to be worried about. Probably nothing heavy. There is supposed to be some gusts of winds and stuff like that, but being a betting man, I usually check all the weather mainly for that, and then I just kind of focus that towards fantasy.
Yeah, I think it has more impact, certainly if you're betting on the game. We've seen those times too when those freak instances where then maybe the wide receiver actually has an advantage sometimes, depending on how the field is, and sometimes they can get a deep couple of deep touchdowns just because obviously the defender falls or something like that.
Yeah, and remember the Super Bowl back in the Peyton Manning. Who'd they play down there? The Bears. It was raining hardcore down there, and that field drains, and it's a really nice field down there in Miami.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Whereas if they were in the 49ers new stadium, like that field is just horrible. They've had to replace the grass, I don't know, at least a half a dozen times. They've just never been able to get it to work right. So
on a scale there, are you still with us, Mark?
Yeah, all here, mate, all here.
Hey, on a scale, what percentage are you giving yourself to win today?
Give me 2 seconds. Let me just check. Because I can't see his lineup. I'm just gonna have
Yeah.
quick.
He said, who do you say? He has Mike Evans on a bye.
Yeah.
What else was he saying?
he was saying that he was gonna choose. He was trying to choose between playing at wide receiver John Brown or Chris Hogan.
Okay.
And since Jordan Reed was out, I think he said he was going to play Miller. He's probably going to play Mark Ingram, Lamar Miller. I think he said Jalen Richard was going to be his other running back, and then
he had Demaryius Thomas, and he had a 4.5 point game, so there's definitely an advantage there.
So he was trying to decide between John Brown and Chris Hogan about which receiver he was going to play.
Jordan Reed, he's out.
Yeah,
Jordan Reed's out.
That's a bit of a kick in the teeth. I'm gonna go with Jordan Reed out. I'm gonna give myself. What did he go? 60?
He gave us 60.
I'm gonna go 75.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, unless Case Keenum decides to fuck me. Do a Ryan Fitzpatrick and get.
That's the thing. Like, if Keenum has a bad start, the only thing that could really screw you is if he gets pulled from the game, which I don't see necessarily happening, that scenario. But, in this league,
not against
quarterbacks can have a bad game and still get you 25 points, and it doesn't really hurt you that much.
Yeah, I'm thinking I can get 15 out of Case Keenum. If I get 15, I'll take that as a good day. I'm not expecting anything more than that.
And he had a big game, didn't he?
He did.
In the Tampa Bay game they played?
Yeah. I think he had 26. think.
Oh, okay. Big for him.
Yeah, it's big. But it's Detroit, so it's not like
Yeah.
I'd feel a lot worse if he was playing, say, the Pats. Like I'd
Yeah,
feel
because Detroit's got some defensive injuries, much less, were they a top defense to begin with, but they had some big injuries that definitely hurt.
I wouldn't worry about I wouldn't worry about Keenum. You're probably gonna get about 50 from Le'Veon anyway.
True that.
That's the plan. Lamar Miller should put up some serious.
Yeah.
But this doesn't really matter because he gets cancelled out with what he's doing as well. But yeah, the one I was really close to playing I was very close and still kind of considering, but I don't think I'm going to do it, was dropping Zeke because he's up against Green Bay, and Green Bay have been incredible against stopping the run this week. And Christine Michael's got a lovely matchup. So that was the only one that I changed. So originally I didn't have Zeke playing, and I had Michael playing because he's playing Atlanta, and they don't know who's playing linebacker for them these days. Is anybody? So.
My thing on the Green Bay D, and I haven't gone through tons of metrics, but they're generally putting points on the board, kind of higher scoring. You look at, they played the Lions, they don't get a lot of rushing yards necessarily. I feel like I don't think their defense is good as the stats might show as far as how many yards rushing they give up per game. A lot of it's because their offense is scoring points, and other teams have to kind of try to match that. I guess we'll find out today for sure, or in some fashion, if that's real or not. But I don't think they're nearly as good as they might look on paper.
Well, also that Dallas Cowboy offensive line is just so great. I mean, it may neutralize any
exactly
that Green Bay has. So.
Yeah, exactly, Reggie. That's what I'm thinking and kind of hoping. But yeah, and plus, I've just got a soft spot for Christine Michael anyway.
Well,
so I always want to try and play him when I can.
No, that was a great pickup for sure.
Love that boy. I'll always back talent. I mean, that was only his issue. Is like it wasn't like a Josh Gordon situation where the talent was overridden by the fact that generally. Sorry for swearing. I didn't notice the kids were in the background.
They're not even paying attention.
Oh yeah, do you put the earmuffs thing? Like
right.
I'll always take that, like where it's just he just needed to apply himself. He never had drugs issues, he never had like bad disciplinary issues. He needed someone to give him a kick. And I think he's given himself that kick, which is the best thing. And so yeah, when I picked him up in the summer, I'd heard some reports that he's back at Seattle, and I just, unlike most people, like I've been saying all along, like I just didn't like Thomas Rawls. And the one time they put the load on him last year and said, okay, here's the load, he couldn't carry it. He picked up an injury, and there's very few guys that can do that. And C-Mike has never had any injury issues. It's always been just his head that's been his biggest adversary. So it's great to see him sort of getting it together and putting it together.
Yeah, no, that's really. I mean, I certainly wrote him off. In a year where I think he was released by Seattle, picked up by Dallas in the same year. That, it's pretty rare someone comes back, but it's pretty awesome to see what he's doing.
There's C-Mike believers as well, myself included. When he went to Dallas, it was just like, everybody was praising to the Lord and singing hallelujah because they thought it was the move that would reignite his career. But just for one reason or another, it just didn't work out.
I see something.
Okay, well, that's good. I think Adam, you said you thought Denver's going to win. Reggie,
yeah, Denver won.
Yeah, I think you've got it this week. Certainly, I'll be watching it, and I'm not going to cry if you lose. But
yeah.
But it'll be fun to watch. It could be pretty. It also would be really fun if you. I mean, in my opinion, if you did lose and maybe the Colts won, have some more fun on Monday morning.
That poor guy. I mean, like, I kept on trying to find like a Miley Cyrus like wrecking ball, because the guy is like literally he's come in like a wrecking ball, and just the talent that he's let go is incredible.
Well, so, be ready, because if he loses this week, I expect to see a nice gift from you out there on Tuesday morning.
No, the poor guy, like, can't even hit 300 now. It's gone It's gone so far past being like I care. It's now just like I feel a bit sorry for him. It's like in the corner.
That might be even worse.
Come
I feel
in,
bad.
like he was the new guy on campus, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna beat you all. I picked like the best roster. Like you were going down, and now like he can't reach 300. He got like taken to the woodshed a number of times, and now he's kind of like he's like a little, he's a little shrinking violet. Like now, I think that whole thing is like the Michael Jackson moonwalk thing. Like the guy's backtracking so quickly. Like I didn't say that. No. I never said that. No.
That was funny.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit wound up by that. He's all right. He's good. It's I think we were chatting about it. Like just sets a bit of fire up in the AFC. So,
And he can't win anyway because if his team dominated everybody, then he'd be getting a hard time for cherry pick team. So he's a no-win situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is that, but then at the same time, like Miami, it's a fair game to Ryan in Miami. Like he did actually change that team for better or for worse.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Like the price that you paid, Sean, for David Johnson was obviously a very hefty price.
Yeah.
But and then he picked up some older guys. So you look at it and you go, well, it's a short-term view, but the team are looking really competitive. They're averaging over 300, which, as we know, is like the magic number. I know I was banging on about it to Indy, but I think Adam, you did some research a while ago. And yeah, you hit 300. If you lose and you hit 300, then that's as unlucky. I think that's as far as you can, as much as you can do. So, yeah, your boy Bosa is back.
Yeah. He looked good week one. Thursday night against Denver didn't look all that good, but he was in on the plays and he'll get a snap count up. But we look forward to seeing what he can do. Ask you this about the NFC teams with the trades that San Francisco just pulled this week. 2 major trades. Who has the better team now, the Cowboys or the 49ers?
Quick look. So
I guess in my opinion,
I just want to sit
Go ahead.
You guys talk amongst yourselves. Give me a minute. Just
behind you.
I think I got to take the 49ers now with the injuries here to the Cowboys, his wide receiving core, and it doesn't seem like he's making any moves to help that along.
It's not. I don't love that wide receiver core. I don't love that one. But Chris Ivory now is redundant there. Like
You can do that
he's
too.
not. They've already come out and said that Yeldon is the main guy there. So he's not like you can plug in Chris Ivory week in, week out these days.
I'm actually going to jump on the 49ers bandwagon. They made it there last year. I don't see any reason why you can't pencil them in for this year.
Yeah, also as well, like he's got Henry sitting there. I mean, Murray has been fantastic, as we all know, but Murray, he's injury prone and he's been carrying a lot of the load. It wouldn't surprise me if they start to decrease his workload a little bit and bring Henry in to try and make sure that he can kind of last the whole season. Or even if Murray does pick up an injury, that could be a nice one for him to bring in. But Carlos Hyde, if he can stay fit, great. Melvin Gordon, still not a big fan of the talent, but the opportunity's there and he's got nothing around him. Terrell Pryor, Odell Beckham Jr. and Antonio Brown. And then, who did you bring the defensive end? Everson Griffin. Yeah, that on bloody hell, 2 million as well. Yeah, Carlos. Yeah, so that was that trade. God, I can see why Commissioner is just like, reaching for the marathon hotline after that one. I'd have been pretty like, why didn't someone hit me up on that one? Reggie, you should have been like, come on, that was my offer. I'm sure you had a bag of scraps and some shoelaces and a bag of fries or something you could have given him in exchange for that nice little package.
Yeah.
Hey, Reggie did make a trade though. He acquired a 2nd-round pick there from the Cowboys for Brock Osweiler.
Oh yeah, that's a nice deal. I think Brock is he's just the guy really. I think I'd much prefer that second round pick in next year's class. I love next year's class. It's gonna be like 2014 all over again. So I've been one position actually, which is quite interesting at the moment, is I've been getting a lot of trade offers. I don't know if you guys are experiencing this, but trying to balance the books on. So like take Christine Michael, for instance. Christine Michael, I'm getting numerous offers that are involving 2017 first round picks. But last year, I got hammered by injuries. Bell was out, Ingram was out, Freeman, like Quinn, you name it. They were, I was playing Brandon Bolden. At what point do you kind of sacrifice a bit of depth to build to get, an extra 2017 first next year to keeping that player that may or may not have any worth come the end of the season?
Right.
Where do you guys stand on that? Would you kind of, if you're in a position where you are, your aspirations are to go for the title, you've got a guy that you're not going to play week in, week out, might come in on the bye weeks. Someone offers you a first, say 10 to 15 first, like a playoff first. Would you accept it? Straight up, first, let's say Christine Michael right now.
Yeah, I'll touch on this first since I have C Mike. And again, for me, he is a depth player because I have a good starting 3 running backs in Stuart Gore, Jamal Charles. I got plenty of running back depth. I haven't actually been hitting up for offers, but for me, if I'm not in the same boat you are. If I'm 7-0, I have an excellent shot making the championship game, the Super Bowl. Depth is what it's all about, and C Mike is still young. He has no miles on his legs. To me, he's cheap. I don't know what you have him for, but I have him for under $1 million. I can still extend him. I have him on a 2-year contract, so I can extend him before the year, put him on a 4-year contract where he doesn't hold out. And to me, that's more valuable than a first-round pick who, could be a coin flip. You never know. You never know what you're going to get.
Could you shovel?
So that's my opinion. What do you think, Reggie?
Well, yeah, it's always a tricky decision whether to give up a player for a first-round pick. I mean, I guess you factor in if you knew that you were, I guess top 3 pick. I guess depending on who it's coming from, which team the pick is coming from, and
say 10 to 15.
10 to 15.
Yeah, like a playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I probably would keep him. Because probably they'll probably come back around next year trying to trade him, trying to get him off of you again. You probably can get more. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to, you don't know the future, but if it was a later first round pick, I probably would hold on to him just because to have that depth since going for the title. But
hey, before Sean starts, I want to jump back in here real quick. Let's take a look back at last year's draft, 10 to 15. Number 10 in the NFC. This is NFC anyways. Number 10, Reggie Ragland hasn't played a single snap this year. Number 11, CJ Procise hasn't done shit this year. 12, Keith Marshall. We all know backup. 13, Arizona Cardinals took Darren Lee. Kind of starting to come around. Still only 55 points this year. Miles Jack, number 14, 12.5 points. So you really got to wait on these. You're not going to get anything off the bat. I mean, it could be 2 or 3 years. So,
yeah.
To me,
Well, the
C Mike is young enough
tough.
to keep him.
Yeah, I guess any pick is kind of tough. Defense might be a little tougher than offense. At least at least on the offensive side, if you pick a running back, or if you have a running back you're ready to draft, you can kind of get a sense if he's going to get an opportunity, because really that's what it's about for them, and also on the wide receiver side. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. C Mike, he seems like a guy right now that no matter what, he's going to start somewhere next year. And I would guess, Seattle would be his spot if he played out the year. I personally would hold on to him unless someone really kind of gave me an offer. I don't even know. I'd still be on the fence if it was like a team that we think might not make the playoffs, number 1 pick. But a 10 for 15, I definitely wouldn't do that. I'd want to get, plus, I mean, you've got a couple of weeks to kind of wait it out and see if someone will get desperate and really kind of pony up something. But Mike, he's a starter. We'll have to see on injury wise, certainly with Rawls and what have you. But he looks like the guy.
I'm on back sweat. I'm not.
I was going to touch on that real quick. The trade deadline is November, same as the NFL, so that's going to be November 1st at 4 p.m. That actually isn't on the schedule yet here in the XFF. So we're about 3 weeks away. Last year the trade deadline was all the way up until week 14, I think. XFF.
It was quite late, yeah. Kind of.
So it's big difference.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some teams that are going to have to make some decisions quickly. Like, do you blow it up? Like, I'm not in many leagues. I'm in this league, and I've got a team in one of the league, and in the other league, I didn't start well, and I think by week 2, week 2 didn't go well, and so I just blew it up then. Which is interesting because like I've never done like a rebuild or anything. This was the first dynasty league I ever played in, and that approach of just like, it's hard for a GM to just go, all right, you admit it, I'm just not good enough, and then just like plan for next year and blow it up. And I think it's going to be interesting to see like the domino effect, who kind of goes first, because I don't think anybody's really done that yet. Nobody really has chucked in the towel and gone, right, I'm going to go for that 2017. Pittsburgh,
obviously Houston, but he's so far gone.
Reggie, I mean, I'm just thinking about like, I think Reggie was on one of the shows the other night having a good giggle at Al, but Al's got a lot of work to do. I mean, having the Antiques Roadshow that he had last year, those boys have really killed him, and yeah, trading away those picks. Like, just here's something for you. So 2017, I'm actually going to do a mock draft in a few weeks because it's what I tend to do around November time, and I'll start doing work on 2017. And I don't know about you guys, like how much, like some guys I think like keep an eye on the next year's draft. Some guys not so much. I'm really excited about it, no more than I have on the 2014 draft. And it's interesting, Adam, you compare it to say like last year's draft, because last year's draft I really wasn't excited about. It's why I spent all that capital early on with Zeke and with Henry. But this year, like I'd say it's like 2014. And 2014, this is the AFC draft. So I traded up to get the first pick. So we had Sammy Watkins, Mike Evans. I mean, number 3, for any of you that remember the former New England manager, GM, Bishop Sankey was picked 3rd. Then Eric Ebron, Teddy Bridgewater, Kelvin Benjamin, Carlos Hyde, Devonta Freeman, Ryan Shazier, CJ Mosley, Khalil Mack, Jordan Matthews, Brandon Cooks, Odell Beckham, Talvin Smith. I think we can expect something near to that. I'm not going to say it's going to beat it or it's going to be like it, but I think it's going to be a lot better than we've seen the last 2 years. That is for sure. Linebackers as well. A couple of really good inside linebackers coming out.
Oh yeah.
Ohio State and Alabama.
Yeah, it'll be.
Got anything, Sean?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, certainly from a, probably some patience on the trade side. I do think Al, as a quick plug there, I think he's done a really good job of doing some trades since he realized he wasn't going to go anywhere. He's kind of like waited out. I've made offers to him, but the trades that he's made, I think he's gotten some really good value from. So I think, he's done a good job there. I think in general, there's been some teams that have done pieces at a time. And I know the Jets wrote an article about that. And so and everyone's kind of talking to him about a few players, but there's been some piecemeal stuff. But yeah, we haven't seen like a full scale kind of, breakdown of a team that we thought could make the playoffs yet. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of gets us to November 1st.
Well, guys, any last words?
Well, I wanted to give a couple of things out there as far as some updates on some players. I'll probably take maybe a couple minutes here. Ziggy Ansah, it looks like he's starting today, so he's back. In the Lions' backfield, They've got the only running backs they've got are Forsett and Zenner, so that might be kind of interesting to watch. I don't know who's starting yet. We talked about the Patriots. Jamie Collins is out, and so it looks like another good opportunity for Landon Roberts, who I know he was a pickup this week for. I think he was picked up in both conferences. We talked about the Eddie Lacy starting ankle challenge. Randall Cobb is his backup, and it looks like he's going to get some rushing, and certainly that makes him probably a must start. Not a great start, but obviously he's kind of been up and down. But I think getting a chance to run the ball a little bit will definitely give him an opportunity to pick up the points that he's been losing from Nelson. The big one though is for the Chiefs, and so Adam, this is for you. Jamal Charles, Spencer Ware, you've got both. Who are you starting?
I've read multiple reports that JC is the man this week. Kind of frustrated. Andy Reid's kind of frustrated with the fumbles that Spencer Ware's had in each of the last 3 games. So you got to think JC is going to get 20-plus touches and a lot of screen passes. I can see a lot of screen passes going against that Oakland D. I'm looking for 30-plus points from Jamal Charles this week.
Yeah, I agree with that. Spencer Ware, even taking fumbles away, he's definitely been a different running back since the first week or two. Really, the first week was his big breakout. But yeah, I think JC's the guy. I think you're playing the Titans, and I think you both have JC. Obviously that'll cancel out, if he starts him. But I'm curious to see who he ends up starting against you. If he doesn't start JC has a big game. Obviously that could be an advantage for you for sure. What about you, Reggie?
What's that?
What are your thoughts on that? If you have JC and Ware, who are you starting?
Jamal Charles. Now he hasn't played yet. Has he played yet this year?
He hasn't played, no.
Okay.
Wait, did he get a snap in the? Did he?
He played 7 snaps, but I think he only had carries or something.
Okay. I'd forgotten if they're gonna. I thought he was gonna get more snaps. I think if the game was closer against the Steelers when they played, he probably would have gotten some more. But certainly with the bye week, that helped him out.
Yeah, I think since they probably wanted to wait till after the bye week to get him rolling, so I think they're gonna roll him out there and let him at least try to do his thing and see what comes of it or whatever. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Sure.
Yeah, because they definitely need a win to stay in that AFC West. They need to beat Oakland since Oakland is at the top of the division. So I think they're gonna try to roll out there him and try to get his production that he normally has. Albeit I'm sure he's gonna be a little rusty, but if he's feeling good, then he should be able to get you quite a few points.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see him come back to something what his normal self was, but he's been gone for a long time, so it'll be interesting.
Before we sign off today, the old mayor, he's driving back from Missouri for a wedding, but he said, I got to try to stop and get on there because I hear everybody's picking the Texans over the Lions, so I got to get on there and give some beef. Who do you guys got in that matchup, Texans versus Lions?
It's not even close. Lions are taking that one easily.
Yes.
That's a that's like 32nd on my list or so of games I'm worried about the favorite winning.
Can I thank you?
All right. Well, I think it's about time. You got anything else? Any closing comments?
No, I appreciate both of you for joining us and Dustin. It's awesome to get some new guests as well with Mark and Reggie. So good luck on your games this week. But again, if Denver wants to lose, I'm okay with
that. He can afford it.
He can.
Well, I enjoyed it, fellas. Glad to be on. I'm sure I'll come back on again.
We appreciate it, Reggie.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Next time you see me, should be 8-0.
Oh,
So you're going to be here next week, you're saying?
Oh no, I won't be here next week. No, I won't.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. I'm going to the Rams Giants game.
Oh,
week.
cool. Oh, yeah. Cool. And there's a third one, right? A third England game?
Yeah, there is. There's a third one, which is the Bengals versus Washington. But the tickets for that are insanely expensive. So sometimes I can kind of like get one, like get a couple, and they're not too expensive. But right now, they're super expensive. So we'll see. We shall see.
So are those games in London? Are the fans pretty excited about those games? Or
Yeah, they are, but it's not like last November I was lucky enough to go to New York and watch the Giants versus the Patriots.
Yeah,
and that is like it's like a really partisan crowd because the Giants,
right.
I like watching football over here, like soccer over here, like where you get a lot of traveling fans. You don't get that in the States.
Yeah,
Even if you do, you tend to mix the fans. Where over here, you would not mix soccer fans. I mean, like,
okay.
like mixing potassium and water, it's only going to end up in fireworks. So it's quite an interesting thing there because like in the States, everybody's so into it because it's all the home crowd back in the team. Over here, like people are into it, but I still hate it. You get midway through the third quarter, people start leaving, or you start seeing Mexican waves, and like there are like really knowledgeable fans over here. There are people that really enjoy it, really enjoy the games, but they're not all Jacksonville fans, or they're not all Giants and Rams fans, for instance.
Yeah, I didn't know how rabid.
So you don't. They are, but they're all fans of different teams. So what we have over here, the whole idea is that you go out there and you wear the shirt of the team that you're a supporter of. So when you go there, it's really interesting because outside the stadium, when they have like an organized tailgate, essentially, you get fans that wearing all different types of shirts. So it's just fans of American football. So the atmosphere is always slightly different. People are up for it, but they're not in the same way that they are if you were to watch an Atlanta game or a Baltimore game or 49ers game, because the crowds are so partisan. You don't get that here.
Right.
And I think for that reason, it's why a London team won't work over here, because people just think that everybody's just going to go, I'll stop being a Bears fan, or I'll stop being a Patriots fan. I'm just going to go support the London team. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, I very much doubt there'll be a London team here.
All right, Mark. We'll see you in 2 weeks when you're 9-0.
And Arian Foster is active, everybody.
For the next 10 minutes, anyway.
Exactly.
He hasn't got through Walmart.
All right,
guys. See you later.
We'll take care.
See you, Mark. See you, Reggie.
All right.
Anything else, Adam? You ready to go?
Real quick, I wanted to touch on this Titans matchup I got today.
Okay.
It's a big one, doozy. In the next 2 weeks, I got cakewalks, I guess you could say, Houston and Jaguars, before taking it off with the 49ers and the Cowboys back-to-back before that last triple header. I got some tough matchups. It's a must-win to stay in the talk, to stay in the hunt. Obviously, the Lions aren't going to lose today. Minnesota plays the Colts. That's kind of a toss-up. Minnesota's been chugging along, but I'm sitting back here in third place looking up. All I can control is my future, so I got a tough matchup. I don't even know who I'm starting. I got to get off here and go through everything. So, yeah, I look forward to that matchup today.
Well, I'm glad you didn't start Simeon. And
didn't do as bad as he looked, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still... I mean, Carr's still going to outscore. You got to think Carr's going to outscore him, but...
Especially with the Lions, they can put some points on the board, so that helps, too. If something really bad happens, I mean, I think you kind of have it, positive both ways for Carr. But yeah, I'd always start my best guy. If he's playing to the Vikings, in this case, and Simeon was the only other choice, I probably still would start Carr. But that's the only time I'd kind of think about it, is if the Vikings are playing your team.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of tend to read it too much in the matchups and weather situations and shit like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think for betting, if you're over under kind of bets, or picking a team that might not be able to run the ball very well, and it's like rainy or what have you, those are things to look at. But I think individually, it's pretty rare that comes into play in my mind.
Yep. So hopefully I'll be back here next week with a record of 5-3.
That'd be big. Yeah. Well, good luck. Enjoy the week, and we will see y'all next week.
Take care, everyone.
Should be fun.